Terran's out there just hits all the right spots. He brings new things to the table, shows us how to play Terran, and does it with such finesse as well. He's got such clean micro understanding of the game, and he's looking very sharp this series. But Rogue, he's got a few tricks up his sleeve. And speaking of the man, spawning in the bottom left of Zen, it is Rogue.
In the top right, up 2-1, is his teammate, Maru. The guy that makes everyone say, why not just play like him? Why can't you do it?
Why not just have 500 perfect APM? You know, like, it's so hard to emulate his play. He's one of the guys that's just like, I don't know how he does it, but he does everything so right. Like when he's on song, and that's a big thing that we have to talk about because he's not always the most consistent. During those 4 GSLs that he won in a row, basically, he definitely was. But there are times when he just doesn't bring it to the table. But for this tournament, Maru is just... he's Maru level. He's actually playing like Maru.
Yeah, exactly. He's finally playing like himself. Yeah, that was just a little bit flabbergasted. We do want to make sure to not just like, you know, say that Rogue's already out of it. This is his final life, though, so he does have to bring it to a game number 5 here on Zen, which actually has been kind of, I mean, it's one of our least chosen maps in general, but when it comes to the TVZ matchup, there are a couple complications. As far as the map goes, there's some weird spots where tanks kind of like, you know, sims the AI around. It's really obnoxious. But if you can control your units, which Maru obviously can, then there's some really brutal spots to get up into the Zerg's face.
And Rogue, he's definitely a cerebral Zerg. Like, I think he thinks a lot about the games. He thinks about how to win them. And Zen is definitely a different map than things that we've played on before. I think for run-bys, it's great. For Lings being all over the shop, it's quite a large map within regards to the airspace as well. This is definitely a map that's going to be a bit tricky for Maru going up against such a smart player.
Yeah. Rogue did at least show us that he has the ability to do something to really shock and awe Maru. And even the start of that second game, I was saying like, wow, Maru is just being so defensive, really worried. I think he's back to full confidence, but he's still being very careful with the SCV scout into the block as well. That did end up working very effectively last game.
Interesting choice that he doesn't go for the engineering bay block afterwards this game, because I feel that worked so well on Ephemeron. Nice extractor making by Rogue there, saving his drones, keeping everything alive thus far. Definitely not been as disrupted as he was the previous game.
I'm just trying to think of what Rogue will do here to really mix things up, because Zen is one of our more unique maps. The way that you path through the middle is very obnoxious, especially for the bigger... Oh, are you kidding me? Oh, Maru. He was watching Innovation, apparently.
He is a sneaky, sneaky boy, and this is something that Rogue needs to respect. He needs to find out about what's going on in the base of his opponent. This Overlord is doing the general scout route, which it'll go into the main base, but if he sees a factory and a starport, depending on when the starport gets done, he could probably expect, oh my gosh, I'm just against the same thing, I'll be fine, right?
Yeah, it's very difficult to tell that timing of a building structure. Like, you really can't say that, like, yeah, he knows there's something missing. It's actually looking very normal. He would just love to see it, basically. Now, when this happened to Cyril, he did manage to get a glimpse of it, but then it kind of messed up the defense, the emergency defense that he was trying to get up, the evolution chambers. If Rogue doesn't see it at all, then it could just be like the fastest fourth game.
Wow, a Viking being made with this too. We've got Marines still in production. The Hellions are being made. He's also skipped out on quite a few SCVs here, and Blue Flame does start. This is going to be a scary push from Maru, and this is a weird map. Maybe he doesn't want to play a late-game situation with Rogue on such a crazy map, and this is going to be a lot of Hellions.
Yeah, unfortunately, upgrades will not help you. Won't be even done, but they definitely won't help you. Walling off that natural, yeah, that's a step in the right direction. Notice 2 or 3 Hellions going down there, but there's no wall if you can get on that third, that's for sure. Whereas on Eternal Empire, at least Cyril could have tried. So Rogue just really needs to scout this, and so far, nothing is telling him something's off.
I'm so scared for Rogue. He just went for the double Evo chamber as well. There's no Baneling Nest in sight, I don't feel. And so far, everything that Maru showed him, even the Viking here, is going to get a few Overlords. Oh, this is such a good scout. I don't know how he sniffed this out.
That's very, very good then. Just something telling him it was off, or just being very proactive, because Maru, of course, can have his tricks as well. Blue Flame is almost done, but the Hellions already moving their way out. Rogue is going to try and wall off. This is going to have to be a very large wall, and he actually does have enough minerals. A full wall off there, but very low health structures.
Both these players have been using their buildings very well in this series. Rogue down a little bit in supply. He needs to stay alive against this push. The Hellbats deal a lot of damage to ground units, but this so far is a very good positioning by Rogue. Reapplying a new Evo chamber, but the Hellbats, they can't really get through. Rogue's doing a very good job of holding this.
He's got so many queens. They don't kill the Hellbats very quickly, especially with the medevac now here. That was missing for a little while. Ling's digging to the main base, but a quick SCV pull, and more Hellions come out. So 8 SCVs, but is that actually going to even up the game as Maru storms into the natural of Rogue?
Oh, he is indeed. The queens, they're all staying alive. He takes out the medevac. That removes the sustainability of this army. The Roach Warren, it's still not done. Like, I think it actually got cancelled by this little Hellbat squad, but Rogue is cleaning up the push of Maru while dealing SCV damage, but that is not the end of it yet. More Hellions do join the fray and move into the third base.
Yeah, I mean, at least it will be able to take out any amount of Lings to try and take care of it. It's going to take out more queens. They've probably spent all the transfuse they've ever had. Drones actually boldly go back to mining, but he needs that Roach Warren. It's so close to finishing. It's not done. The queens have to micro, and they are buying a lot of time. It looks like Maru has fixed his wall problem from earlier and is looking to get a couple more drones.
Oh, these two Hellbats did quite a lot. That one Hellion over there trying to take out an Evo chamber. Evo chambers everywhere, like throughout Rogue's base. Oh, what a crazy start to this game.
Yeah, I thought that was going to be it, man, but the Ling scouting and then just actually being able to get the wall for that long. And his queen count actually was far higher than I anticipated. He brought all of his queens forward. None were stuck in the main or the natural, and they eventually were able to tear down those Hellbats. Very nice control there from Rogue in a very desperate panic situation.
Yeah, super clean SimCity and super quick reactions to all of that as well. I really thought he was going to die against that attack, but he did that about as well as he could. Now we're getting on to the rest of the game where Maru, despite investing in that Blue Flame Hellion, is going for a follow-up with 5 barracks behind this and tank production. I do believe he's got his 3rd CC at his natural base.
Yeah, he does. So he'll be moving that over soon. With Hellion still available, like he wouldn't... Oh, the other 3rd, okay. He doesn't really have to worry about Ling run-by so much, but I do want to point out that Roach Warren seemed a bit desperate, little last second. He did actually commit to +1 missile. Like, that was intentional before it even started, it looked like. So he will be going into Roaches. He does have an upgrade lead. Does he have any opportunity to use it, though?
Oh, is this a blind spot for Rogue? Oh, I think he has seen it. Okay, that could have been dicey. The Blue Flame Hellions still deal a lot of damage to Lings and a lot of damage to drones. Oh, has to leave 2 of those guys behind, but they don't die without getting a juicy shot off.
He didn't actually scout the production of Roaches. He's seen the Roach Warren, but that doesn't mean that it was... Yeah, it doesn't mean that it was actually being used. It could have been just like okay, I need something against the Hellbats, but it absolutely will be. Perhaps even, yeah, once again, hitting some type of 1-1. It's very weird because +1 was done so much faster, but Carapace is finishing up here. He does go for the Nidus Worm, and Maru could be facing the same situation, a very similar situation as game number 1.
Yeah, I feel he's in much better shape this game, though. Like, that damage and that chaos early on, he's getting onto really high barracks production very, very early. The forward 3rd that he took, initially I was kind of like, huh, that feels a bit weird to me, but having the wall off at his natural and then having his rally forward, he is playing totally textbook Terran here in that he wants to rally at his opponent, but the thing is, Rogue, I don't think he's going to let that happen.
He's still producing a couple of Hellions every now and again. They are obviously very useful as run-bys. They could be very helpful against a Ling-Baneling composition, but he really needs tanks. If he had gone immediately into a 2nd tech lab for double tank production, I'd be feeling so great for Maru right now. But it has been single tank production. And again, I don't know if he anticipates this attack. He sees it here with a potential run-by and immediately lifts and evacuates.
I love the decision-making by Maru, though. He didn't commit to trying to defend that 3rd. He was just like, oh, so that's what you're going for. I'm a bit scared about those tanks being on the same position there. Easily could be barred down, but Maru realizes that and readjusts.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, okay, those might be broken. But it's not going to end here. The wall is down, actually. I mean, that's very bold. The tanks are in a very safe position, however, and he actually jumps on top of the Roach Army as his upgrade's finished. Not combat shields, though. Those Marines very weak.
They certainly are, but the tanks are getting such good damage done on those Roaches. A medevac actually falls along with the tank there, I do believe. and Rogue's army is getting very thin. And on the other side of the map, despite defending, Maru going for the drones here, and these are blue Flame Hellions dealing so much damage, but a Nidus in the main as well. Rogue is everywhere here.
I don't think Maru expected the Nidus Worm. He thought maybe he had control of the situation, but that was actually just so much left over in the Nidus Worm itself. It pops out into the main base with plenty of transfuse energy, but the tank's in very good position. His production actually still going strong as the mules drop here. It looks like Maru's going to be able to hold.
That is so many full energy queens, though, and they are keeping each other alive. That tank at the far left side is going uncontested here. Rogue cannot move away from the Nidus Worm. The bio is doing very well. Mules landed at the natural. The third even re-established for Maru. Both these guys, this is like a boxing match here. They're just slugging it out.
This is so insane. If that tank could go down, Rogue would feel a lot better about taking on the bio, but it's not going to happen. He has that upgrade lead, but it didn't end up mattering, actually taking out the Nidus Worm and a queen as well. But Rogue able to escape with at least a little bit of his army. He also took economic damage. It's 3 CC, 30 XEVs versus 3 Hatch, 51 drones.
I guess the saving grace for Rogue here is that he is ahead in upgrades, and soon he's finishing that +2 for his Roaches as well. He banked up quite a lot of gas, so he's making a lot of Ravagers, and his army is still pretty darn stocky. And Maru, I don't think he's even got an armory up, so trying to get those upgrades rolling, he's going to be behind for quite some time. Oh, he does have the armory.
Yeah, well, we got it for the Hellbats.
Of course.
Yeah, forgot about that as well. But this, there's a problem here, not just in the direct fight, which actually Maru is going to take here. Happily, those Ravagers, very weak units, actually. They usually have a Roach protection buffer. They don't have one. They're getting pounced upon here, and they are not holding up.
Wow, this is right before +2 armor finishes for Rogue as well. We see that it's seconds away from being done, but Maru not giving him the opportunity. He is just marching over Rogue, nailing all these really expensive units and Ravagers, and even takes out the Nidus Worm, so that's not a threat for later on either.
He doesn't care about the creep spread here. He's just pushing forward, trying to keep the momentum up. The Medivacs, they actually still have a lot of juice. The Marauders here will outlast a lot of these units, but Maru thinks, okay, this is not actually going to end right here, right now, but I do feel confidently for our Terran. Not only does Rogue have to worry about direct fights, as I was just saying, he also has to worry about multitasking with slower units than a typical Lingbane composition.
And while all this is going on, Rogue can't make drones. Like, he's going to be on pretty much the same drone count for quite some time because he has to respect the push of Maru. And the beauty of Terran is you can actually make SCVs at the same time as making your army. So Maru, he's going to continually get a little bit bigger while this is going on, but also he's going to be macroing at the same time. This is kind of risky, though.
Yeah, tank just getting kind of weirdly AI'd, I believe. I mean, it goes going way far forward. By the way, that creep spread is pretty far forward, and Rogue is taking advantage of it to push into Maru's aggressive 3rd CC. The SCV has actually been pulled here, as Maru does not feel confident in the bio he left behind. But again, we're down to just Ravagers, expensive units that don't hold up face-to-face.
No, they certainly don't. That was quite a few SCVs going down, but Maru joins up with the rest of his army. His 2-2 is on the way, so that upgrade deficit will be met up with fairly soon, but there's still quite a while to go. And Rogue, amidst all this chaos, got a 4th base up and running behind all this.
It does feel that if Maru can get to that 2-2 with a decent army supply, that will be game. This composition from Rogue is not supposed to last forever. Maybe it can be helped with fungals. Maybe it can help stall out until you get to a hive, but just being on this composition is supposed to be worse over time.
Oh, so Maru is actually going for the offense here. He feels that he's not in the best spot, and I agree with him. So he's defended and surrendered that 3rd base. He's flying over to the other 3rd base. His mineral patches are getting ridiculously low as well in his natural.
Yeah, I really like that he's gone over to the other base. Like, he's not the one, even with a couple of opportunities here and there, to actually keep up the aggression. But, of course, this Doom drop changes all of that. Rogue, his army's on the other side of the map. He's going to actually fly away from Mass Queen, basically, as, well, his thoughts are probably on this defense.
Maru doesn't actually have that much back at home. Maybe it's enough to clean this up, accompanied by the SCVs being a bit of a meat shield here, but that is a large amount of Ravagers. What is Maru doing with his other medevac squad? Could this be a flank?
I was thinking the exact same thing, but it looks like Rogue is not going to actually set himself up for that. Dragging a drop on top of this army might actually be good enough. He's going to go ahead and do that. And dodging the corrosive vials. Lots of Marauders actually very, very weak on the front line. No tanks available, and 2-2 not quite done.
Yeah, if he can just buy a little bit of time, but Rogue has done such a good job of re-establishing himself. I think that Maru maybe played a bit too aggressively.
Yeah.
He probably felt that Rogue was on a much higher drone count than he was, but Rogue has just got such a big force here, and 2-2 is just completed for Maru.
Yeah, this is maybe a nice timing for him, but is the armor supply enough? It doesn't really look that way. Concave is very good. The Roach numbers are getting thin, but Maru is going to tap out. Rogue staying on that low economy and just trying to max out Roach Ravager was absolutely the perfect call.